run the game and shoot what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man with king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from. I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from. I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
That stupid thing. I swear to God, I can't stand this thing sometimes. There go Addict. Hold on. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna go back to my mic. Yeah. What up, Addict?
Yeah, I was calling to tell you your mic's muted.
Yo, and you know what's crazy?
I gave you a couple minutes to fix it, and you weren't fixing it. So.
Yeah, because I started going and reminiscing. And I gotta go back now. I gotta give a shout out to those people. When my elbow hits it, when I pull that mic close, you know how your elbow touches it. But upstairs, the mic is a whole lot better.
I hear you. Now I gotta mess with you because you messed up.
Oh man, shut up! Get out of here, man. Stop messing with my chat. Get out of here. Yo, all right. So first, okay, let me go back. I'm gonna give a shout out to and that's what happened when I touched this mic. On the other arm that I got upstairs, the HyperX arm, because this is not the HyperX arm. On the HyperX arm, the mic is coming from this side. It bends down. I don't touch it at the bottom because the mute button is at the top. Over here, it's very easy to touch and very easy to mute yourself. So again, I got you. I want to give a shout out to my man Calvin Washington, aka Cal Cutter. Growing up, he had the Nintendo. He had the Nintendo NES, the original, and that he was the reason he put the battery in my back to make sure that I got that. But I think he had got it for Christmas or something like that. Well, anyway, we played Double Dribble. We had such a great time. Wrestling with Starman and all that other stuff. Fighter Hayabusa. We had a great time. Also got to give a shout out to my man Raheem. Yo, Raheem was the first one that was wearing his pants sagging. Let me tell you about that. The first one in the world that I know that was wearing his pants sagging was Raheem. And it wasn't because he wanted to wear his pants sagging. It was one, we were broke as hell. He didn't have a belt. He used to use a rope to hold his pants up. And his moms would buy him bigger clothes based on the fact that, you know, she shopped at Alexander's. Raheem was a smaller dude, but she didn't want to keep buying clothes that actually fit. So he had to buy clothes that last. Whatever. But we used to play Mega Man, and he had to keep the Mega Man cartridge on every day when we, went to school or whatever, because it didn't have a save feature. I remember at one time his mom was just cleaning his room, and we had made it super far in Mega Man. But back then we had to find out how to beat each boss, and you had to beat them in certain times of orders in order to actually make it off the board. But you got to keep that love for the game. You got to keep that love for your friends. You got to keep that love, those memories when everything was pure, bro. I remember, what was this dude's name? Man, I forgot his name, but it's gonna come to me because he was a small part of our childhood. He had an Atari 7800, and I had. Oh, I salute you, Soldier. Hector, the Macho Man, that's my dude. Remember, for 16 months, Soldier S rank. Everything you spoke about at Sony has come to true. Brother, the prophecy will definitely reach its fruition. We have a lot of talking to get to. We have a lot of stuff that we are going to approach. We have a lot of stuff to unpack. I told you how the prophecy was going to go. I explained to you step by step. We are almost there to the promised land with hashtag no PlayStation 6. We're going to run it up on these bums. I'm going to keep the boot on Kong's neck this whole generation. The prophecy will see itself through. And I'm glad you guys get a chance to watch this as we go on this epic run that no content creator dared to go on. You see, I saw Alex's video the other day. I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday. And the title of his thumbnail, I just saw it because it popped up on my feed. The title of the thumbnail was Sony CEO says the quiet thing out loud. Now, we all talk about it. We all talk about the downfall, the demise of Sony.
At Richai Teresma donated $10 through Super Chat. AA is good enough for Doom the Dark Ages numbers, but for Soros it's wrong while inconsistencies is part of Sony fanboy's personality.
Bro, Richie Torres, I love you. I appreciate you. I like everything that you said there, but this addict is running out of control. He's in the background messing with my sounds. I don't know what sounds is going to pop up next. I don't know what to brace for. I can't dance like I normally dance when the alien is here. The alien is popping up to spooky plasmaphobic sounds. With Olivia having to be drug in by stupid sounds like that. This is getting out of control. And he promised me that he wouldn't do this. Give me a second, bro. I got to drink my creatine. Give me a second, bro. Oh, y'all got a chance to see the picture I put up earlier today with King Oscar duck eggs? All right, not King Oscar duck eggs, with King Oscar sardines. This was my first time having King Oscar sardines because I got these other sardines and they came in with water, right? And this is my first time getting sardines in water. So normally I like to get it in extra rich, extra virgin olive oil. It tastes way better. And this one had King Oscar sardines with jalapenos. So it had that extra kick, that spicy kick. And I had my duck eggs and I'm mixing. My wife be watching me like, bro, you acting like this is a premium meal. I said, I don't know about you, but for me, I can lock in. I used to box. So locking in on a meal plan isn't anything, right? It's absolutely cool for me to do. Addict!
Richai Teresma donated $5 through Super Chat. Where's my alien music, son? Lol.
Richie Torres, I'm saying the same exact thing, bro. No, Russian caviar is definitely dope. But all right, so So I'm locking in. She's watching me, and I'm having my kimchi first, and I got to eat my food in order. But if y'all see the drink there, the drink there is okay. What I've only what I only drink now is live water, coconut water, right? I brought some supreme coconut water the other day. You know, they come in the coconut. You got to pop the top and throw the straw inside. Anyway, because when you work out, you want to rehydrate the best way you possibly can. And I'm doing the research, I'm doing the science behind everything. And that's the greatest way that you can rehydrate is with living water. So I'm rehydrating with living water, but I don't drink while I'm eating, right? I give my stomach the proper time to actually digest. So I'll take my kimchi first. She can't stand it because I guess it got some anchovies in it or whatever. I don't care. Whatever. I'm eating my kimchi. There's no GMO, no nothing. It's Chinese kimchi. It is the bomb. Eating that, I heat that up a little bit. Got that. Eat that first. Then I eat the sardine and the duck eggs. And then I wash it down with the living water. And that's after I work out. I got to do my half an hour workout with my walk-in for 20 minutes cool down. Absolutely the bomb workout. And, you know, that's when I come home from work. But that's that. So, I went on a tyrant, for talking about something. I don't know. Anyway, we're seeing the prophecy actually fulfill itself. And we are on this epic run. And we're talking about Alex. And Alex said that title. But these dudes whisper it in the background. They're never bold enough to actually tell you that Sony is facing ruin. They're never bold enough because I understand it. They're afraid. They're afraid to put themselves out there. They're afraid to be ridiculed. I'm supposed to be on, I'm going to promo it tomorrow. I'm supposed to be on the show on Friday with Lono and, I think it's the Ginger Gamer, on Friday. But, and that's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a long day for me on Fight Night Friday. But, you know, one dude put in a comment, because he's promoting it already. One dude put in a comment, or put a comment under the promo, the Mr. No PlayStation 6 dude. And nobody wants to be that guy. Nobody wants to be the guy that puts themselves out there. Because they're so afraid of scrutiny. They're so afraid of being snapped on. They're so afraid of embarrassment. Bro, I grew up in a time where you can think that you're dressing fresh. You can think that you have the best gear on, and they will find something to snap on you about. That your hairline is crooked. You got buck tooth. Like, bro, I grew up in a time where snapping, playing the dozens, was all it was. We was cutting up all day long. We would snap all day long. So either you was going to adapt, either you was going to grow this thick skin. The risk of embarrassment means absolutely nothing. You're not going to say anything to shame me. I don't care, because whatever happens, whatever I do, I own that. That's me. That's what makes it fun. But these guys get so caught up. Oh, they got receipts on me. They're scared to say stuff. These weirdos. Come on, man. Everybody needs to be an individual. We don't need to all think the same and care about the same exact things. We don't need to do that. We don't need to be a mirror image of the same channel, the same talking points, doing the same thing. Like, oh, we got to have a channel. If you don't have a podcast with 4 members, and you got to have your camera on, and you got to do this, and if you don't do it this way, no, be you, man. Do your style. Everybody got a different style in which they portray themselves. Everybody has to stand on their own, and I like it. So when you come here, you're going to get the fun. You're going to get to see it, and I'm going to point out the demise of Sony every inch of the way. Pause. And when did that start? When did dudes start saying pause on air like this? I've been flagrantly reckless with saying pause. Go to the earliest episodes of ILP. Buddy, that's me. That's how we do. If you from the town, that's how we get down. Some dudes don't understand pause. And that glizzy stuff, this stuff, I've been doing that. I do that. That's what we talk about. That's how we get down. That's just us. So at the end of the day, man, Addict said he can't stop me. Addict, get out of my chat. Get out of here. Yo, this year, Capcom has been on an epic roll. I've seen something in this company that I've loved. I've loved Capcom for as long as I can remember video games. For forever. Capcom has always had IPs that stood out. Capcom was integral to gaming. I'm a huge Capcom stan. And with Pragmata being the latest in what I feel is this stable of the big three this year, where you have Resident Evil Requiem, Pragmata, and you have Omnimusha rounding out, I feel Capcom can do a round robin this year. But they have stamped themselves in the history of video games. And they have always been certified. With IPs coming back, I think, isn't the Devil May Cry Season 2 on Netflix? I gotta go binge watch that. Devil May Cry was ill when it came out. My son's name is Dante based upon Devil May Cry. It's our fandom. You know, my son may think he's named after Dante Inferno. Why would I do that? Like, nah. One of the baddest characters that I've ever seen that was made was Dante from Devil May Cry. Stylish. Incredible. Story was dope. So, I ain't gonna hold you. Capcom getting this love, this is what I'm talking about. And now this is brought to you by VG Game News. Capcom just sold more games than in any year of its history. They're talking about the epic run that Capcom is on. Resident Evil drove Capcom to record results. I love them being bold enough to put out a title like Requiem, where they take the masculine and they take the feminine and they allow them to both coexist inside the same game. We're giving you different perspectives on how to play it while putting you in the role of an action adventure star, right? And then also putting you in the role of an unsure female heroine that has to be heroic. They played it great. The storyline was fantastic. The graphics was top notch. The puzzles was on point. The story wasn't too long. It was just right. Everything about Resident Evil Requiem felt perfect. And then we got our hands on Pragmata. That's Capcom at its finest to me. And they would take themselves to outdo themselves. It would take Capcom to outdo Capcom. Now, I don't know what the rest of the year may hold when it comes to titles coming out. I do know, as Publisher of the Year, quite possibly, in my opinion, Capcom can set a record for the highest rated games and the most sold games in a financial year by one publisher. We are witnessing gaming history from a company that was facing damn near foreclosure and bankruptcy not too long ago. It took Sony to give them a boatload of cash to have Street Fighter V exclusive to the PlayStation console, to lock that away from everybody, and they paid like they weighed to get that title. And that title hasn't shown up on Xbox at all. That was that was them. It started off bare bones, but it made its way through, got itself to Evo. But that funding allowed them to do Resident Evil remakes, and they started hitting their stride. Could you imagine a world where Capcom fell apart and didn't give us what we needed? Yo, you can tell what I look at by what pops up in my feed. The algorithm actually sucks. I just saw statues for Sideshow, so I saw this Dr. Doom that I was looking at that I'm actually thirsting over at the moment. All right, so for the business year ending March 31st, the Japanese publisher achieved its 9th consecutive year of record profits and the highest consolidated sales and operating profits in its history, it said. I salute you, soldier. Dip down anime. Member for 20 months. Soldier S rank. My guy, me and him was working yesterday. Great time with you on Murph Burgers King. Facts. Listen. Fight Night Fridays is up. I finally found a character that we can have in Guilty Gear Strife. But at the end of the day, me, Dip Down, and his lovely wife did our Patreon duties. Now, if you didn't know, right now, until my Patreon is up and running how I want it to run, my work will be over on Dip Down's channel. You can check that out. We're doing Jujutsu Kaisen, and we're seeing the genesis of it and all this other stuff. So it's a wonderful watch. Go check it out. He has it up and running. And the chemistry that we have, the team over at Dip Down with Xbox Frontline News is immaculate. We, from fresh eyes, seeing Jujutsu Kaisen to individuals watching it, and then we break down the episode at the end. That is something that I live for. I live for stuff like that. I love anime in every form. I'm getting ready to watch Chainsaw Man. So again, the way I love anime, it actually it's heartwarming how I break it down too. If you get a chance to check it out, and it is funny watching them watch me watch something because they seen it already, but my reactions to it is bonk. Especially last episode, which was crazy. In total, Capcom sold 59.7 million games during this business year, up from 51.87 million in the year prior. The figure was driven overwhelmingly by sales of Resident Evil games, notably Resident Evil Requiem, released.
I took control over the entire operation, King.
The hell? Yo, he got a hole!
FRC donated $2 through Super Chat. I cannot wait for Onimusha.
Did you just see that? Lycos was good. I salute you, soldier. I can't wait for Omnimusha 2. We have something that's going on in Summer Games Fest. You will see it. As we get to this goal that's up there, I'm going to be live from a lot of this stuff. We're going to be talking. Plus, I do shows while I'm out at Summer Games Fest. While I'm out in Cali, I'm working every day. So you're going to get a show every day, but I'm trying to do this live thing. So I got to buy this gimbal. I got to buy more chargers. I'm going to be live and most of the time. So we're going to do this in real life stuff. And again, I'm trying to give you the most content and give you what your value is. And I think I value more than anybody. I value you guys more than anybody. Trust and believe, because I'm going to break my ass for you guys. Pause. All right, so listen, released in February, nearly 7 million units by the end of March. Capcom said 83.77% of its game sales from older catalog titles, while a huge 93% of the games it sold were digital download versions. That's crazy. They're getting 100% of their bread, well, with those digital downloads, as far as, you understand what I'm saying, by selling them through people's storefronts. Looking forward, the company said it anticipates sales of 210 million yen, operating profit of 83 million yen, which will result in 10 consecutive years of record high profit for the company. And I cannot state this more. They are the hardest working, the most diligent, and the most respectful to their fan base in giving them what they want. With talks of Devil May Cry, Mega Man, and damn near all the old Resident Evils, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil, those titles actually making their way back in a remake or remastered form. I think it's remake. I can't wait for it. I'm championing them. I wish Konami was on this run. Only one I think can actually give Capcom a run for their money is Konami. But for some reason, Konami can't get it together. For some reason, Konami can't make that power switch, that move that Capcom did. Everything seems to be right with what Capcom has going on, and we got to talk about some things. Now, it was one game that, you know what? No, Big Daddy in the room. We're gonna start with Xbox. We're gonna start with the 1,000-ton lizard. We're gonna start with Xbox. Since the Empress Asha Sherman has stepped into her role as CEO, righting the wrongs of the past, grounding the console Generation 9, forcing the industry to respect Xbox while putting Xbox gamers first, and also looking at the Insider program as a conduit and a measuring stick to see what works and what doesn't work, while rewarding those that engage at the platform at a base level, behind the scenes, be delivered in spades. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that's never satisfied. And no matter what she does, will never measure up to what they have in their head. She can damn near decapitate Sony. And people will say, but what has she really done? Well, I'm here to give flowers. I'm here to talk about the stuff that she is doing. As an Xbox insider, I absolutely agree with the stuff, how she's doing it, how to... Now, this is brought to you by Pure Xbox and Ben Kerry. New console startup animation rolling out to Xbox insiders and Gamer Store badges also detailed. Now, this new animation had everybody all up in a tizzy. With her tweeting out today, the Empress, Asha herself, how do you spell Xbox? Is it with a capital X, with a lowercase b, O-X, or is it all capital letters? With these little nuances and getting the engagement that she wants from this, insiders all across the world are starting to see she means business. Now, after Asha Sharma teased the new news last week, Microsoft has today revealed that the new console startup animation is rolling out to Xbox insiders today, with a full rollout to come to the all-series players in the coming weeks. I can tell you, it took me by surprise when I saw the new pop-up animation, and I was absolutely elated. Living up to your word, delivering exactly what you've been talking about, and being who we want you to be and who you need to be, while not compromising on what the hardware is going to be. And I'm talking about Project Helix. Each and every last one of us Xbox fans are anticipating the release of the next generation, and it starts with Xbox. Where others are bickering on RAM and how much money they got in their pockets to fund their projects, not bringing their projects to fruition. Hashtag no PlayStation 6. We're going to run it up. But Project Helix is the candy man. And you say its names 3 times, it's going to pop up soon, pause. And we've been looking forward to this. But there's a feature that each and every last one of us have been asking about. Now, this feature was supposed to be rolled out through GameStop. And it was supposed to be a digital buyback feature in which they converted your disc games into a digital license that gave you access to your current library that you have that is in disc form. Knowing that the next console, that your library continues to aspect to it. And the Tale of Two Cities is aspect to it. And the Tale of Two Cities is PlayStation took off to record shipments while Xbox seemed to stay stuck at 40 million sold. Well, 43 million sold. While PlayStation has doubled their number. I understand. But that doesn't invalidate your library. Now, we've been pondering for a while now whether Xbox may choose to avoid including a disk drive into the next generation Project Helix console. They won't. They won't have one. They've been flirting with a diskless console for forever, when now that you can buy a Series X without a disk drive, well, of course, every first-party company that's also a publisher, not everybody has the infrastructure to facilitate digital. But with this buyback program, with this licensee program, this program itself was actually going to be the way to usher that forward. Babe, do me a favor and close that door. Thank you. I appreciate you. Love you the most. Windows Central's Jez Gordon mentioned that the base of the mentioned that the base on hints that he's received about the nature of the Project Helix, it will be fully digital system similar to today's gaming PC, laptops, and most modern devices. That's an absolute no-brainer. Why add something that is going to, one, give you less control? We know that these companies absolutely want to control everything. They want you to own nothing while they control everything, and you're completely dependent on playing nice with their ecosystem. Unlike Neo Geo and PlayOn, where they're giving you the absolute control and giving you a console at $250 with complete control of your backlog and your future catalog. Well, all these other gaming companies want to restrict you. So I got to give a shout out to PlayOn, even though they're a partner with me. I respect the fact that the King is launching November 12th of this year. Now, I thoroughly, and this is just his speculation on his thesis on what he's doing with breaking this down. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Thank you. I thoroughly expect the next generation Xbox Helix console PC hybrid to be without a disk drive. Hence, that I've received about the nature of the box increases the point to that idea. It will be fully digital system similar to today's PC gaming laptops or whatever. All right, for what it's worth, he also goes on to mention that he'll be incredibly surprised if the PlayStation 6 didn't end up going to be the same way. I'll be incredibly surprised if the PlayStation 6 comes out. These dudes, you know what they say in their head? There's no world that I can't see that a PlayStation 6 won't come out. I can absolutely see a world with that happening. I can absolutely give you the reasons for why that's happening. With Hiroki Totoki coming out and explaining to you that they're not even considering it until the financial year of March 2028, so they can assess the landscape. What part of this don't you get? It's not what you want. It's what's going to happen. Now, however, he also highlights that based on some very early investigations, Xbox might be working on some kind of disk-to-digital program that will provide entitlements based on your physical library. The key thing here is that the details are said to be incredibly scant, and even Jez himself said it should take this with a pinch of salt. Codename Positron, from what we can tell, could be some form of disk-to-digital entitlement program. The details here are incredibly scant right now, and the investigations are ongoing. It might not be exactly as it seems right now from the details we received, so take it with a pinch of salt and a healthy speculation from now. Now, allow me to elaborate on what Jez is talking about. This idea is not new. This idea is absolutely old. There was things that and stuff that was in position, that was in place, that would use GameStop as a conduit into doing so. And it was smart. You charge a small fee, and we got to figure out what the fee is going to be in order to give your physical disc in while turning them into digital codes. That's a genius thing. While keeping GameStop afloat, because what they've turned into is pretty much a retro place, right? That occasionally gets popping when new consoles come out. With the majority of us buying our games digitally, we are further cementing the fact that GameStop is unnecessary. Well, why not take this vintage store where they're looking to buy eBay and grow their brand in a direction that doesn't make any sense to me? Well, they've done a lot of things that doesn't make sense to me. Take that company, turn it into a completely retro store while selling and bringing in, well, not selling, while taking your physical copies, turning them into digital licenses while using that fee. They can make easily a nice grip of change while also turning around and taking those discs while preserving and selling that content. I think this will definitely make a great storybook ending to how that company is going, help facilitate their transformation into a retro store while keeping them relevant in the gaming space, while making gamers understand that you can embrace digital while making some change along the way, and also establishing your library going forward while preserving your library. Now, what we would need as gamers is an assurance that parent companies can't lock us out, but there's no way they can assure that. The only one I say that can actually assure us not being locked out of things is Xbox. Because when Xbox has an issue, like you see Jason Ronald talked about the other day, they fixed the back compat issue with the 360 games that dudes was having. Well, the security breaches on Xbox is very few and far between, with the larger extents of security breaches on PlayStation being more prevalent. It's gotten to the point where, one, I do two-level of authenticity when it comes to authentication, when it comes to my authentication, when it comes to my password and stuff and buying games on PlayStation. I never put my credit card. I never put anything that can link anything directly to me. I make sure that I go through a third party and keep a barrier between PlayStation and my wallet, and that's PayPal. PayPal security is way better for me. PlayStation has shown that they will allow every and anyone to hack their system and get to the back doors. And you would think at some point in time that they would take their security seriously. Well, I'm here to tell you, they still haven't fixed the problems that we've been worrying about. This is the reason why I explained to you. If security is a problem at a club, do you continue to go to that club? If security and hacking is a problem at an establishment, would you go there and put your card down on the counter and said, run me a tab? Especially when the establishment tells you if fraudulent charges is brought against your account, you can say nothing to them because they will ban you. Knowing this, do you understand why I game how I game on my PlayStation consoles? If it's not physical, well, then it's really not at all. I really use PlayStation Plus as my measuring stick over at PlayStation. And I think they like it that way. I think they like how I choose to interact with that platform. Because it's not the same way that I buy with confidence on Xbox. Because if there's a fraudulent charge on my account, I just call them. I just explain what's going on. And everything is fixed. PlayStation will shut you down, ban you, and lock you out of your account, and you'll never see your library again. So either shut up and play along, or get better at being protective of the layers that you put going forward with this console. Critical PlayStation Network security issues still hasn't been addressed 6 months after initial reporting. And this is brought to you by WCCF Tech and Francisco de Mayo. Back in December 2025, it was widely reported that the PlayStation Network accounts could be easily hacked, even with that's the authentication, two-factor authentication, and the password protection due to how account ownership is verified on PlayStation support. Hackers only need a transaction number to claim ownership of an account. effectively bypassing all digital security layers. Despite these reports, the security issue still hasn't been properly addressed, as the same user who originally reported the flaw has had their accounts hacked yet again. Imagine this, if you will. You brought this huge security risk up to everybody because you've been hacked. And you tried to warn the world. And you warned the company that you love so much because you buy games there. You thought that they would take you serious and fix it. They didn't fix it. With Sony reporting record profits, with Sony reporting selling the most consoles in the world, shipping the most consoles. That's 90 million consoles shipped, that 90 million of them are exposed to the same security risk. That's a level of unaccountability I've never seen in my life. Knowing that you are vulnerable, knowing that you, as a potential owner to the PlayStation Network, your account is up for grabs. I want to know how that sits with you guys. Because I don't see any of you PlayStation guys in my chat addressing this. You address everything else, with you running around screaming, we got 90 million consoles out there. I don't know who's we, but you got 90 million consoles out there. Yeah, y'all, third place console. I'd rather be on a secure little cruise ship than the Titanic with huge, vulnerable sides to my ship that can be taken down at any time. How did that work out for the Titanic? Right? It was beautiful. It shipped the most people. I would rather be on my little dinghy that is absolutely secure. That first party got you, that first place gets you where? The first person to get hacked. Think about it this way. When Xbox has an issue, they fix it. Complete. Sealing it up, retooling, remaking, making sure that it doesn't happen again. PlayStation 1 doesn't give in to terroristic threats, right? So if you threaten them with hacking, they're not going to give in. Shout out to, who was that? That was Insomniac, right? Shout out to them. They didn't go for it. Wolverine got hacked. That's why you don't got Wolverine now, and you got to wait for whatever version of Wolverine that you got now. They didn't want to pay up the bread, right? They got a massive hack. They saw all these leaks. Everything happened. Cool. We don't negotiate with terrorists. You also don't fix your back end so the terrorists don't get in. You can't have it both ways. You can't say we don't care to negotiate. We will never bend to your will. We will not submit to Zod. And you don't get kryptonite to keep Zod ass out. You continue to do the same thing, hoping for different results without catching the hackers. It's like allowing bank robbers to continue to come in and rob the bank. Like, who's doing this? Who's in charge of security? Anyway, do you remember the hacking of my PlayStation account when it went viral around the world and Sony still hasn't fixed it? I got hacked again last night. Wrote this.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Are you
How much,
freaking
King? How much?
Are you freaking
At Halo
kidding me?
Forever 005 donated $2 through Super Chat. Let's go King go you.
Are you kidding me? Did he just said how much woodchuck chuck or woodchuck chuck? Did you see what he has me as? This should be illegal. What up, Crispy Bomb? That's my dude. Oh, man. The only measurably reported implemented is to avoid a repeat of the situation was a high-risk account, customer service must not intervene identifier. However, this protection may have lasted only 6 months as the account has been compromised once more, leaving the user powerless. As long as this flaw isn't fixed, the same bug can be re-exploited indefinitely. So I can no longer use my games with a peace of mind at the risk of disappearing. Initially, it was thought to be the same hacker from December incident acting in retaliation, but currently evidence suggests otherwise. The new intruder did not change the account ID and played different games, making the situation arguably worse. It proves that anyone with access to a simple transaction ID can easily claim ownership of an account. It's insane that it's so easy to change by email to completely disable the old email and delete the access key. The fact that PlayStation is acting like this, no problem at all, is driving him into despair. Until Sony finally overhauls its support protocols, the recommendations to keep your PlayStation Network account secure remain the same. Never share personal information or purchase screenshots online, even as those most crucialist transaction details can be used to seize your entire digital library. That within itself is absolutely alarming. What's even more alarming is you individuals that are holding out for PlayStation 6. You guys are the most alarming, most nauseating individuals, because with 90 million shipped consoles and your libraries falling apart, let's address the elephant in the room before I get to the main sucker punch that I have for your face. You see what I did there? I said sucker punch. And a no pun intended type of topic. PlayStation sucker punch first party. Anyway, you guys see the title. A massive loss for Sony, Soros. Now, as publisher, in the publisher wars that I'm having with Lord Addict, Lord Cognito, Lord Sovereign, I picked some Sony titles based upon I know Captain Savaho will be outside. Or Captain Saver 304 will be outside. I knew you guys will front line for them. I knew no matter how trash a game is, if it's a Sony game, you're going to prop it up. I understood how your nature is to save them because they need your help. Where you saw the FTC, the CMA, and every other organization in the damn world try to actually save the market leader, supposedly, Nintendo's the true market leader, from being stomped out, eradicated, and thrown under the bus. Because had Xbox was allowed to do ABK how they wanted to, and make everything exclusive from the rip like they should have, like they could have, that if I spend $80 billion on something, I should be able to do with it as I wilt. If I want to buy a Bugatti and ram it into a wall, well then hell, it's my money. Allow me to take a Rolls Royce and smash it into some concrete if I choose. There should be no law preventing me from doing whatever. But no. You cannot take Call of Duty away from these little petulant children. Oh, no. They need to have legacy titles. I hate them. With the fact that they scream about so much competition, but don't want it. But they went out and brought Housemarque. And they were touting Returnal as the second coming of the shooter genre. Now, I happen to think Returnal was dope. Niche, but dope. Kind of like a AA title. Something quaint. Something that you don't expect much from, and you don't place it in a position of a AAA title. You expect it to sell what it's going to sell and fill up your library, if you will. Now, the way they were going on and on about Soros, it was supposed to be the second coming. We were supposed to evangelize us. It was supposed to take us to the next level. We were supposed to pop in the disc or digitally download it. And our PlayStation 5 Pro was supposed to take us to the promised land. We were supposed to use the Pisser 2 to reach new heights. And Sony's main thought was, if we make it a guy, they'll really love it. In a shooter, we don't care if you're a ship or a dragon, a plane. We don't care. What they decided was to give us this weird story with Soros. And anybody that played it and ended knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not here to ish on your parade. What I am here is to bring up an alarming notification to you. If you didn't get, please buy Soros, it's necessary for our survival.
That's huge. No pause.
Get out of here.
At Wings Far From Home donated $2 through Super Chat. Could not resist. What did addict change it to?
The fact that if y'all listen back to that and what the Super Chat read, yeah, that part. Addict, you don't get to come on my pause. You don't. I salute you, Soldier. Bounty. Soldier for 26 months. Soldier S rank. Well, go on, King. The original Dandata. Bo. Hell yeah. Bounty. Listen, I'm trying to take my wife to Jamaica. I'm trying to take it to. Listen, this year, I am going to California, Germany, and Seattle, right? The Seattle thing is going to be a great thing. But, and that's PAX West. So we're going to Summer Games Fest. We're going to Gamescom, and Cog and I is going to go to Seattle at Gamescom. I mean, at whatchamacallit, PAX West. And what the hell? Oh, Bounty gifted members. Yo, I want y'all to put the blood lion in the chat. If you just became a member, I want y'all to salute your brothers and sisters to the realm. I want y'all to put the blood lions in the chat to show that we don't play. Pause, bro. What the hell? Come on, man. Oh my God, this guy.
Huge. No pause.
What is this guy doing? He's making.
Huge. No pause.
He's making me lose my train of thought. Oh man. Creatine.
That's huge. No pause.
So it's creatine with a little Baja salt and some lemon to help it absorb into the muscles, right? Because what you need to make sure is your muscles is hydrated. Now, I don't know where I was before. Thank you. I salute you. I love to see the bloodlines in the chat. You are now able to put the bloodlines. Thank to Bounty. Bounty, I salute you, sir. Soros may struggle to recoup its budget despite great reviews. The game, and this is brought to you by, hold on. What the hell? This is brought to you by, what is it, GameSpot? Okay, GameSpot, and Gabe Gwynn. Soros may struggle to recoup his budget despite great reviews. I'm one of the people that knew that their defense force would come out to try to save the game. The game sales are off to a slower start than Returnal saw. Now, understand this is absolutely concerning because right now, if it's slower than Returnal, and Returnal launched at a smaller, install base, this has a larger base. This has been the only game that they released first party outside of Marathon. And this title is a single player story driven narrative game that is in their wheelhouse. This is an exclusive title that hasn't had a PC thought of release, and it's there. Let me move this thing out of the way. I'm so sick and tired of this thing. This is scary because Returnal didn't do all that great. And the sequel that Sony greenlit isn't going to do all that great. Are we looking at Housemarque being the next one to close? With Blue Point being shut, what makes Housemarque special? It wasn't organic. It wasn't a studio that they built from scratch. It was a relationship that they had, that they felt that they needed to go out and purchase them. Because Xbox has told you they were on a buying spree. Sony, with a knee-jerk reaction, decided to purchase a lot of these studios to the detriment of the company, to produce games that aren't living up to the expectations of the masses. Now, I was told, oh my God, yo, stop encouraging his stupidness. I was told that it sold, I think, probably 300,000. All right, so Housemarque Saros launched earlier this month to rave reviews and is a legitimate front runner for Game of the Year. Get the fuck. This is the reason why that they gotta die. This is the reason why they gotta die. This is the reason why they gotta die. Anything that they put out, these simps are going to run behind saying it's Game of the Year. Anything that they put out is going to wiggle its way into the Game of the Year category. Astrobot, anyone? They tried to force feed Astrobot to you. You don't remember that? I like the Astrobot, but I'm not the barometer of Game of the Year, dude. I like niche stuff, right? You can catch me in the corner just playing something stupid. I'm that dude. I'm not going to hold you. Don't ever base your Game of the Year categories off of me because I'm going to make sure I pick what I care about. And that's it. But it's this stupidness that I cannot stand, man. I just can't stand it. I can't stand the defense force that, and it's these simps. I know what it is. They think they're part of a group. They think when they made their purchase that they were part of some type of group that gave them a shield. They went to the store with their own money, brought a PlayStation, and thought they were sitting at the cool table. No, you're still that same goofy dude that we don't mess with. You having a PlayStation didn't change that. You're still the same awkward person that we don't mess with. The one that sits there and plays with bug feces. We don't like you. And just because you have a PlayStation doesn't change it. Right? Well, I'm not going to get an Xbox because if I get an Xbox, they're not going to like me even more. I'm going to get a PlayStation and they're going to love me. And I'm going to simp over every game that they put out. Come on, man. According to Elliott's and the analytics, who estimates Saros sold approximately 300 copies in his first 2 weeks of sales, this figure is a little behind Returnal, a very similar game. Very similar. It's a damn near the same game with Agenda Swap. Were released much earlier in the PlayStation life cycle that actually had the incentive to sell even less than Soros. Soros, the first game developed by Housemarque since the studios acquired by Sony, having operated independently and primarily developed games for PlayStation systems in years prior. Thus, a huge percentage of Soros players had previously played Returnal. They estimate that it was 79%. About 1/3 of the game sales thus far were during the early access period. Now, understand this. If that game doesn't hit a dramatic sale, that game will die where it stands. With these losses piling up for Sony, the questions turned out to be, how long can we continue to watch this happen? What is it going to take for this company to turn it around? I got it. The next console that everybody's looking forward to, let's gimp it. Let's hurt it. Let's allow the people to understand that, one, we don't want to compete and you will buy any slop that we put out in the streets. The fact that they're embracing AI can tell you one thing. The fact that Hiroki Kitoki can tell you that we're only going to put out 1 or 2 titles a year, and you better be good with that. The fact that oh my God, I salute you, soldier. WTB 1327. Soldier V rank, I salute you. Member for 2 months. Reforge saying that there's no good Xbox lowering its Game Pass prices. Has to be the worst top takes of the year. Hashtag no PlayStation 6. We're gonna run it up on these bumps. I get a chance to sit down and talk with him on Friday. Y'all get a chance to see that. Well, we did talk before. Listen, he's going to cater to his fan base. He's going to talk to his fan base in a way that makes sense to them. He's entitled to his opinions on certain things, but we've seen and we already saw and we already know that the direction that Xbox is going in is a far more positive direction than where PlayStation is trending. PlayStation is trending this way while Xbox is trending this way. I told you, it's a tale of two cities. You get a chance to see one that's rebuilding, rechanging, and doing everything. It's a 180 for both, where one was the king of the hill is now beneath the hill, and the other one that was beneath the hill is now climbing the hill. So we're watching two companies do a 180, one in one direction, one in the other. Again, the conversations will be had on Friday, and we will definitely talk about it. But this is what I'm talking about. The Defense Force can't defend against this stuff. And this stuff is the stuff that makes legends. This is what makes me great. This is what allows me to do what I do. This what allows me to come up to this platform and say it boldly in your face. Hashtag no PlayStation 6. We're going to run it up on these bums. I'm going to keep the boot on Kong's neck this whole generation. And in doing so, you guys actually get a chance to see it in real time. You can clip it. You can tag it. You can reseed it. You can do whatever you want to do with it. But I want you to bring it back to me when it happens, baby. I want you to understand that I'm the guy that did this to you. I want you to know that I was the dude bold enough that stood there by himself and stood out there and told you to your face, unapologetically, that this would happen to you. Now, this is brought to you by Hot Hardware. Woo-wee! It's burning out here. Give a shout out to Alan Velasco. Sony may cut PlayStation 6 RAM to 24 gigs to combat the rising console prices. Let's gimp it. Let's gimp it before it starts. Let's make it the weakest thing going. When Project Helix told you, yo, we're going premium, we're going hard, pause, or stay home. You guys are telling them we're going to make a cheap, underpowered console that is not going to live up to the expectations of the masses. Just to get something out the door, to just turn around and make a PlayStation 6 Pro to have your ass sitting here saying, why you didn't deliver this from the beginning? Why?
You know, chat, there's this one time I saw King with some meat in his mouth with another man's hand on his shoulder. And absolutely no pause.
First of all, that man didn't have his...
donated $2 through Super Chat. Was not waiting got to start on my Forza review.
Shut up. First of all, I had my hand on that man's shoulders looking into his eyes as I ate the glizzy. Pause. We ain't going to be phrasing it like this. I'm definitely getting you off of here. I'm definitely taking you off of here. You're definitely getting out of here. Another man's meeting. That's disgusting, bro. You're definitely taking it too far. I got to give a shout out to Bruno Ramos Diaz, member for 20 months. I salute you, Soldier X rank. If Asha lowers hardware prices, I feel like Ric Flair. Woo! No PlayStation 6. I don't know if she lowers hardware prices. I don't know how currently constituted that happens. If I have to forego this generation in lowering console prices and all that other stuff with getting some type of subsidy for the Helix, I'm going with the subsidy for the Helix. I want to know if y'all guys want a subsidy for the Helix console, or would you rather them lower the current console prices? Me personally, I'm looking to the future, and I'm biased because I have a Series X here. I have a Series X there. I got Series S's upstairs. So I'm already all in on the generation. It doesn't benefit me if you lower the price on these consoles at all, ever. It doesn't help me out. But what helps me out is when I'm changing this for a Helix, I'm changing that for a Helix, right? I'm rotating these consoles. Well, I'm going to take all the Series S's out. I'm going to sell those, and I'm going to put the Series X's where the Series S's was, and wherever the Series X's were, I'm going to put a Project Helix. Being that they're going to still be supporting these X's, these series consoles for a long time coming. I think they'll be supporting them for at least 10 to 12 years. The current copper consoles are nearly 6 years old, with both Microsoft and Sony are hard work at developing the next generation systems. That's a damn lie. PlayStation is not hard at work at developing anything. They're in absolute research and development, while Xbox is absolutely gearing up to deploy. There's a difference of having your army getting ready to drop into a heavy war zone than you sitting there strategizing and trying to figure out if you can deploy. One is playing on paper and one is playing in the streets. It's stuff like this that kill me because they got simps everywhere. Unfortunately, development is happening during a memory shortage. This is never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. What makes you think they made all this money from this RAM in this manner that you think at some point it's going to be this alleviation? We're sorry. We're sorry we charge you so much. It's never going to stop. So either get your money right or don't game no more. That's it. It's never going to stop. You're not going to magically wake up tomorrow and the consoles is going to go back to these corporations are not in the give back system. They're not talking about giving you back a damn thing. So stop acting like it's going to be a pop. It's going to, boop, we're back to normal. Yay. Hell no. It's up and it's stuck, and they found out that they can charge you more for old stuff, and we fell for it. It's over. Yo, if you took her back when she cheated, forget about it. She's cheating all the time. If you took him back when he cheated, forget about it. He's cheating all the time. There may be some instances where they don't. But do you really believe him, though? Anyway, for the PlayStation 6, that might mean launching with less memory than the company had initially planned in an effort to hit a more desirable MSRP. What does that actually mean? Let's gimp it in order to make it more pleasing financially to those individuals that want it. We won't be able to deliver a next-gen experience, but they'll be happy to have this gimp piece of hardware inside the house that is only marginally better than a PlayStation 5 Pro. That is not what y'all looking for. A discussion with NeoGAF forums, which has frequently by many leakers and insiders, including the well-known Kepler 2, Shout out to Kevlar too. I love the fact that I sat there and I took that bubble and I popped that. Boop. You know why? Because all you guys screaming that the PlayStation 6 was coming out next year, eat it. Eat it. Eat it. Shed some light on how much RAM Sony might be integrating into the PlayStation 6, while one user suggests the company should equip the console with 20 gigs of RAM. And Kepler 2 responded with, nerfing the specs so much kind of to fix the points of having a just next generation system. If you want to go read this article, go over to GameSpot to actually read the article. Again, Alan Velasco actually does a decent job in portraying his fandom when it comes to that device and his speculation where it happens. Now, I want to talk about something that is going to change Xbox fortunes for the greater. And it may not, and I know I'm going long today. I know the show is going long today, but this topic needs to be talked about. I wasn't going to hold the topic for tomorrow. You guys deserve to get as much information as possible. And I wasn't going to make a short or something like that to just put out this information. Now, we've known that Xbox has been in China with, I think it's China Joy, and us at Iron Lords are trying to figure out how to get to China to cover these festivals, these game shows, these trade shows that has Xbox front and center in China. Now, with Sony doing the China Hero Project, I commend that. Shohei Yoshida san was the integral spearhead that made sure that a ton of those titles in Asia was making it over to the PlayStation. And Xbox saw that, and with their presence ever growing in Japan and in Tokyo Game Show, they needed to broaden their horizons with Korea, with China, with all of Asia, the Philippines, everything of the such. And it's good to see that they're starting to take these markets that are heavily mobile and make them their own. When they got the ABK deal, we knew that King was going to be a huge component when penetrating these markets. Pause. King penetrating markets. Hey, yo, that's what's up. But Microsoft, and this is brought to you by Instant Gaming News, and this is brought to you by Theobot. Microsoft appears to be preparing an Xbox Game Pass tailored for the Chinese market. Following the recent player-friendly initiatives over at the Western market, Xbox is now setting its sight on China. To do so, the American company will leverage its popular Game Pass. In an article published by The Verge, we learned that references to a certain Project Salkuli was discovered in the latest update in the Xbox app on PC. A description was also found that leaves little room for doubt, as it mentions an expansion into the Chinese market for Game Pass and the rewards program and various subscriptions. The memos to employees in late April, Asha Sharma, the Empress, president of Xbox, had already mentioned her intention to expand the brand into China within emerging markets. This is aimed at users who, this is aimed at users who prefer mobile devices. Now, the reason why you have to look at these markets in that manner is because traditionally they are marketed to and games are tailored to them in a way that is completely different than how you normally do in Western civilization and also the Japanese market. China is largely mobile. That's why a lot of the mobile games actually excel. That's why a lot of companies make sure that they make mobile games targeting that area. I hope they understand the market. I did see a couple of how would you say it, job listings to help facilitate those things and make those things happen at a greater capacity. This will be huge because that will mean Game Pass would explode overnight. If you tailor it and you make it kind of like what you're doing with Discord getting those monthly active and daily active players to be part of the conversation, well, you will fundamentally change your fortunes overnight. And I think this is what I'm talking about. You have a tale of two companies. You have PlayStation trending down and you have Xbox trending up. This is something crazy to behold. But Xbox is the only company out of the big three that is able to make such swathing switches at the drop of a dime. And that's because backed by the dollar, they are damn near a $4 trillion company. And leveraging that brand, that Xbox brand, knowing the value of it, knowing where it lies in the positioning that it needs to be in the industry, forces them to make changes that are swift and impactful. Gaining any ground in the Chinese market is swift and impactful. And doing so in the face of PlayStation, well, that's downright dirty. But this is Xbox Frontline News with your boy, The King. If you loved anything that you saw here, if you was entertained by anything, especially the antics of Addict, well, please hit that like, subscribe. And if you want to become a member, members of the lifeblood of the stream, with Fight Night Friday coming up this Friday, we're one day away from Thor's Day and then Fight Night Friday. And that show that I'm supposed to do, and we're going to talk about that again tomorrow because we're going to promote tomorrow. And we're going to go into that stuff. But also, with the weekend, you members getting these videos 20 hours ahead of time. I appreciate you. I put in the hard work for you guys so you guys understand how integral you are to this channel's, what is it? Natural growth? Pause. I want you to go where I'm about to go, where you should be going. I want you to go where game is game and win is win. And I want you to try to play the Game Pass. But before you play the Game Pass, I told you I'm the best at it when it comes to this intro game. And if you think anyone is better than me, then put them up.
What's a man or a king? What's the saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You from the game, but what said as you claim it. It's that Xbox. Spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talking, no wriggling. Moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the sea, you know that it's scorching. What's a man or a king? What's the saying? Advancing the line, advancing the payment. You from the game, but what said as you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from. I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from. I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you